Hey, we're back.
Hello, hello, audience.
Hello, hellos
We
are good to say.
return. And I think I'm just going to get right into this, assuming that the audience is all present, ready, and accounted for. I'm about to launch the poll.
Randy has turned into a hand snake.
Yep. Randy is cousin. No, not cousin. It. Wrong
A
one.
nude,
Thing.
Thing.
a nude Muppet.
Good.
Yep.
I am currently eating, and I don't want you all to see mac and cheese in my beard.
That is okay.
But what if it's my fetish?
Especially.
Go on to his OnlyFans.
I have to. Yeah, that's right.
You
You have to
might.
pay.
Listen.
Don't look. You'll have to pay.
No feet pics.
That is a reference
no
to a
messy.
TikToker. If you have never seen the TikToker Shiadani, who is a pop star but also hilarious on TikTok. She's a hilarious Spanish lady that lives in Montreal, where it is icy and awful.
She is very extra. I love it.
Okay, I am launching the poll now, so I will ask my players to step away. The poll has begun. So, audience members, please note that, as always, you can spend channel points on the poll. I've got it properly set up this time, so it's going to run for 10 minutes. It is visible on screen, so I'll ask my audience, my players, not to look at the stream at all. And please do vote early and vote often. This is your chance to give me some feedback on what is going to happen next. So please bring in those votes. We still haven't figured out a way to allow you to use your bits for votes. So I will remind you that it is also possible to cheer for our players during the game. And when we get enough cheers, we will roll over and everyone will get inspiration. And we are, in fact, pretty near that right now, 83%. So just so you know. But keep those votes coming in. The poll will run for maybe another 7 or 8 minutes. But I am excited to see what you select for me to move forward with. So in the meantime, while that poll is running, players. So you all managed to survive this situation, and you find yourselves low on hit points, spell slots, and various other things. And still in this creepy giant cathedral of shit.
Perfect.
As previously mentioned, there are a number of holes in the walls where little waterfalls of effluent are pouring into this giant chamber. And then under those waterfalls, all the way around the room, there is a large stone walkway, which is where the kobolds came from. Along that stone walkway, there are a number of passages, some with doors, some without. They're just archways that lead off into these lower catacombs in various directions. And then in the center of the giant cathedral, there is a pillar of stone blocks that extends from the ceiling all the way down to the bottom of the lake. And it has various sluices in it where effluent is going in into some kind of large internal well. A little investigation reveals that there are metal portals, sort of like vertical manhole covers, on that central pillar next to every place where there's a sluice. There's one of these panels for access. The bottom of the lake near the sluices is where you have been panning for effluvia so far. And you've had some success, but not a ton. I'll remind you that last time Copernicus had determined that this central column probably leads to what is known as the well, which is the bottomless pit that exists at the very center of the catacombs beneath the city. But before you reach the bottom of the well, this likely goes through some deeper catacombs, and that may be the best place to get more of the effluvia. So that's where things stand right now. You could go camp out along the walkways around this room, but there are lots of accesses for more things to find their way here. You could attempt to make it through one of these hatchways into the central pillar and see what's further down there, or you could go off and explore down some corridors.
Well,
Peter, you're muted. I saw your mouth moving, but I didn't hear anything.
Oh, I double muted when I went on break.
Ah.
I muted both my physical apparatus and then Discord. I was gonna say, I think if we tie up to the pillar and do at least a short rest, maybe a long rest there, so we can see anything before it gets to us. Keep an eye out for things, but I don't think we should push on into the darkness.
yeah,
in our
not
current
quite
I
yet.
agree.
Yeah,
Not
so
with our current
cinematically,
condition.
like as Perny is being chased about by the demon, I've just like managed to swim out of its way before it came careening past. Flop back first into the boat, still chest heaving, covered in filth. And look over at Tromlin and be like, "Everybody good?"
I really need a long rest of some form.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not feeling great. Also, did you do that magic cleaner uppy thingy? I think I got. You don't want to know what my mouth tastes like right now.
I can cast create water. So you can gargle.
That'll do.
I
Look,
believe
I'm not
you're
sure what
referring to
spell you use.
prestidigitation.
Yes, I don't know if
Yeah,
he has
they're
that
like-
one.
Yeah, I think I have.
I believe so.
You have that one.
Tomlin has it, and I think Copernicus does as well. Keep those
do.
votes coming, folks. We're over halfway through the poll,
Yeah,
and
I'll
the
come
votes
down
have
and
slowed
start,
down.
start cleaning people off. I think like Perny will use magic to do it, but he'll also like pull out like a hanky and like scrub behind people's
Good,
ears and
good.
stuff.
Lick it, kind of
Yeah.
scrub the
Go,
face.
I currently have a tie, and I need a
You got a
single
little
winner, or
schmutz?
I'm going to have to roll for it.
I feel like
there
I'm
it
nothing
go.
but schmutz right now.
Another vote
Does
came in.
Bernie do the thing where he licks his thumb and like rubs the cheek?
Good.
I've done that to my daughter, and she's so pissed.
It's not like I think every child does not like it.
No, my mom still tries to do it to me. I'm like, I am
Oh, yeah.
grade 7. You can stop.
Happens in
I
the
thought
other
you
way.
were gonna say-
But you got some schmutz.
I thought you were going to say, "That's my beard, Mom."
So the first time my mom ever saw one of my tattoos, her response was to rub it off with spit. I'm like, that's not gonna
It's not- that's
happen.
not gonna
That's not going to work.
Mm-mm.
I quite love the first season of Taskmaster when Josh Whitcomb got a tattoo of Greg's name on his foot. And when he showed it to him, Greg Davis's first response was to lick his thumb and try and rub it off because he was like, "I don't believe that's real," but it was. 20-pound tattoo.
That's like $40. That's
The votes have stopped.
Stupid
I need
cheap.
more votes. More votes. More votes. Keep 'em coming, audience. This is part of our engagement, so if you have channel points to burn, it's always a good thing for our metrics if you use them in this way. And if you're like me, you have channel points and nothing else to do with them.
I think once we're all in the boat, Perny's gonna. So how are we all doing? How are we all feeling about how this is going?
whew, that was
I gotta say, not going great so far.
we had to get what more of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we need more.
A lot more.
Well, I think if we continue down deeper, I think some of the lower passages I've heard are more collecting points, and I think we can get some faster. But it might require wading in a little deeper, so to speak.
We're also
we-
going to run into probably more danger the further down we go, let's be real.
Yeah,
That's
like
true.
what's with these?
Also
what's with the
very
mushroom guys.
concerned about the fungal guys and the weird alligator
Oh,
cult
yeah.
and
Can I fish one of the bodies out of the water?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go take a closer look at one of these infected.
See if you can see what's
See
up
if
with
I
it.
You can indeed. We're down to the last couple minutes on the poll. Keep them coming, folks. It is still any one of these could win. in the last seconds here. Yeah, so you pull out a kobold and you get a good look. You can pull out a few, you can fish out a few. They're floating around. And you find some of them where the fungal infection is like less advanced, and some of them where it's quite advanced. And in fact, where it's quite advanced, it's almost like the back of their head is all like a purple brain, with like at the edges of it where it intersects with their skin, there's like veins of like fungal hyphae growing into the flesh.
I'm gonna pull out like my journal and actually jot this down and try to do an illustration of it. I am
Yep.
not bringing a sample back because
No.
that's how you get a zombie apocalypse upstairs. But
Oh yeah, we should probably decontaminate when we leave. Like,
Yeah.
as much as we can.
I mean,
Yeah.
for many reasons.
Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe
It's,
quarantine.
well, I mean, question: if we start a fire to burn these bodies, will the methane kill us? Will this sewer blow up?
Yeah, you probably don't feel like it's a good idea to set a fire down here.
There.
Holy heck, that was a lot of votes in a hurry. And done. All right. Thank you very much, chat, for giving me my feedback.
Is it safe to go back in the chat?
It should be. The poll should, once you hit X on it, should disappear. And if you haven't been in and you go in, it should be not there. All right.
Risk a peek.
I'm just making a note for myself as to which one won, so that I have it
Good.
down. All right. Excellent. I also noticed that we are at 90% of the way to more inspirations, so that's looking good.
Woo! There you go.
Right. So, I see someone talking about Wednesday. Well, I finished watching Wednesday on Thursday. Quite
Good.
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 That's a good sentence. I actually quite liked that show. I didn't think I would, but it was actually really, really good. Mainly because Jenna Ortega was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And basically a bunch of the cast were awesome, and that really made it. Yeah, anything else, anything specific you want to try and get out of this inspection of this body? You can see that there's like, it's clear, like if you touch it, it's like spongy, like fungus,
I'm
like it
not
looks
touching
like a
with my bare
brain.
hands.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
Be
with
honest with
something,
that.
like you pick up a turd out of the, poke it with that.
There's a stick.
Yeah.
I'm
Gonna poke it with
I'm
a
addicted
stick.
to these, but obviously you guys are not. So, Tramlin, if you want to like describe to me how to do a field autopsy on this thing, I can try.
I mean,
and
I
figure
have
out.
butchered animals, so it's not quite the same, but it's something.
Kobolds are animals. I can say that because I'm a kobold.
It's okay if I
One
say
thing
it.
I would.
Yeah. It's weird
One
if you
thing
say
I
it.
would
It's
like
fine
to
if I
do.
say it.
First off, I'm gonna ask Ugna or Fetid, someone to keep my babies far from these bodies.
Oh yeah.
And we also.
I feel like I probably shouldn't be in charge of that because I think they're probably about the same size as me at
Hey.
this point.
Come here, kids. Come hang out with Auntie Ugna. You guys.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna pull the boat closer to the pillar and see if they can also stick to walls.
Nice.
Just like throwing my babies at a wall.
Yeah. We gotta practice our little spider.
You're like,
little spider climb.
you like go up on it with a spider climb and
Yeah.
show them that it's a thing that they can do, and they tentatively stick their little arachnidy feet on it, and immediately discover that it works and go skittering up the wall.
Good. Perfect. Aunties are here to teach the kids bad things they
Yeah.
shouldn't do.
I love that they know how to do this now.
We roll over, everybody. It's
So-
time for and
hype
the
train.
hype train.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness!
Hype
So can you
train.
please
I'm gonna give us.
update and give everyone another inspiration?
Heck yeah.
But also, hey everybody, the hype train is coming.
Woo!
Who's interested in such a thing? If you're thinking of subscribing, this is a good time because it fuels the hype train. And if we get enough hype train, everybody gets stuff. I'll remind the audience at this stage, for those who don't know, the subscription puts you into the draw that we do every game for artwork from our lovely collection of artists. So just so as you know, it's always a fun thing to do. Aight. So while the hype train goes chugging on by, so we're autopsying. You're basically trying to dissect this thing and look inside it.
Yeah, I want to see, like, does this thing go straight to the brain?
Yeah, its brain is so the one that has the big purple brain that you can see on the outside of its skull, basically, as you start cutting it open, you discover that that is its brain. Whatever brain it used to have is almost completely gone and replaced by this purple fungus stuff. There are a few little bits of like a lobe here of brain that are not completely consumed, but they are completely infested with little filaments of purple fungus. It also has filaments that grow all the way down the spinal cord and along the various nerves into major muscle groups and organs.
Can I try to figure out from looking at sort of the growth pattern of this thing if I think, like, was it breathed in and it grew out of the lungs? Did it get in the... I mean, I don't think most fungal infections get in the blood as far as I know. So I'm guessing lungs, but can I take a look, try and figure out, like, is there any of this in the lungs or anything like that?
Yeah, why don't you make me... let's get a couple of rolls here. I think medicine is a relevant role here.
Yeah, I've got some of that.
Should I do some of these as well, or?
Yeah, I was gonna say it depends on whether you want to do it. We can either multiple rolls or you can assist.
Do you want me to assist?
I think that'd be better, only so that no one comes within like 5 or 10 feet.
Wait, what is your medicine roll?
I have +5 on medicine. I assume yours is better, but I
no,
just don't want to.
Not. Yours is better. Mine's +4.
Okay, I do a lot of butchering people. So.
That's true. That's kind of your thing.
Yeah, I mostly, if I'm butchering things, it's usually animals, so I will assist.
Okay.
I am keeping the kids busy on the roof.
Quick question, actually. For now that I'm thinking about it, for like dissecting, would that be a sleight of hand?
Sorry, say again.
For dissecting, would that be sleight of hand?
Not really. I'm not gonna. I'm obviously medicine is the most appropriate. But
I can imagine like specific surgical things where at some point a sleight of hand check would be like,
yeah,
need steady hands, need to not
like
nick
removing
this
the
thing
brain
out of
itself,
that
not damaging it. Yep, I assist.
Okay. So that means I roll with advantage, correct? Okay.
Sorry, say again.
I'm rolling with advantage. That means if I have an assist.
Yes, that is exactly correct.
Well, that saved me from a nat 1, and I have a 20 instead, a dirty 20.
That's a very
Much
good
better.
thing to have instead. Excellent. Okay, so and then also the Arcana roll, please.
Right. And this is no advantage, correct?
That could also be assisted.
I would not mind some assistance on that, Shyamalan, if we're doing this together, cutting up brains and bodies together.
What is it?
Tomlin's Arcana is not really going to be useful here. He's like a 1
My Arcana's a
untrained.
+1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Such wholesome family outing.
Yeah, I think
Alright.
you're probably going to be on your own for the Arcana.
Okay, well then that's just a 15, and nat 5, unfortunately.
That's a 15 nat without or with the bonus.
That's with the modifier, and yeah.
Okay. All right.
Isn't there a
So
spell that? Sorry, isn't there a spell that lets me give some like bonuses, or am I thinking something else?
yes,
I
there is a
need to-
cantrip, but I don't remember if you have it. Let me have a look. I think the only person who had it's guidance, and I think the only person who had that cantrip was Glorpa.
Let's see, I have most of my cantrips written down.
Speaking of, I should remove her from the
No.
stat blocks. I also need to update the stat blocks. I think our HP has
I
changed.
do not have guidance. I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Okay, so yeah, so in the dissection, you basically figure there is some fungus growth in the lungs, but you don't find any kind of like spore case on this fungus. In fact, actually, why don't I get a nature roll from Fetid?
Yeah.
And Copernicus, I think, has enough there to assist you as well.
Let's see.
+4.
Yeah, so go ahead and make me a roll with advantage from this multi-person investigation.
All right. And you said a nature check.
Yep.
All right. That
With
would
advantage.
be a 10. I did not roll well, even with
Okay.
advantage.
Yeah, it's hard to say because you just don't know a lot about this funguses. You're used to funguses having some kind of visible mushroomy part that has the parts where the spores come from, and you can't find anything like that here. You're not sure if that means it doesn't have one or what.
I bet there's a big, gross monster further down that makes them, because that would be.
Yeah,
gross.
and in there's something. The 15 isn't a great roll, but Arcana wise, this twigs with you a bit, Copernicus. You've definitely heard of creatures that do some kind of like brain invasion thing that might be fungal. You're just not really sure.
All right, well, Trumlin and I we're both making sketches, and this is really fun. We're bonding over this.
Aw.
Yeah, this is good.
great.
Good family dissection.
Wrist
Well, I
deep in
definitely
blood.
want to take this back to the school and because they need to know. But I don't feel safe bringing a spore back.
No, I
No,
think
that's
maybe what we can
probably
do
a
is
bad
bring.
idea.
Maybe we can bring some not to the surface, but like to a more accessible point that we can like leave it with like sealed in something with a like do not open warning.
Wait, who has the jar that makes liquids?
I do. That's me.
Does it make any liquid you want?
There's a
Not
set list.
anything.
Does it make formaldehyde?
Strong spirits, though, would do it.
It does not, but it does. So in before modern chemistry, and we were making formaldehyde, the way that people used to preserve stuff for a very long time was in spirits, usually spirits of wine.
Nelson just got thrown into a.
Yeah,
Not
Nelson was thrown into a bottle
cask of rum.
distilled wine, basically,
I will pull out
and
one of my
that
jars.
can be made in the jug.
I will pull out one of my larger jars. I will, with my grandfather, carefully put the brain into the jar. Fill it with spirits.
All right, and Fetid can magically create a jug of spirits of wine and pour that in there. And then you can, usually it would be sealed with wax. I'm sure you can do that.
Yeah, that's not really hard. So
You're
then
right.
we'll have something to return to the school that they can study.
Nice.
Sure.
And in fact,
So,
what
This is all taking place on the edge of the pool, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So while this is going on at one point, I'd like a perception check
oh good.
from everybody. Fetid gets advantage on the roll.
Good.
I think I'm gonna voluntarily take disadvantage because I'm very like when Perny gets into a body, he's pretty.
Yeah.
absorbed.
Yep. You in fact have a flaw related to that, although it's mostly socially oblivious, but still.
Yeah, still.
That would be an 18 for me.
Nice. Auntie Ugna's too busy playing with the kids. I see nothing.
Yep. I actually wasn't going to give you the roll because you're farther away, but I forgot.
I rolled nothing
Alright.
anyway. I rolled like a 3.
Well, in that case, Fetid notices some movements
Hey.
near one of the openings, one of the archways that lead out of this chamber further into the catacombs.
I see you over there, whoever you are. I aim my gun at the thing.
And as you do so, a couple of quaggles come kind of creeping out of the dark. You immediately notice that one of them has a huge purple growth on his shoulder. and they both look very scared. One of them is the one with the growth is a ratkin, and the other one is a goblin with big flappy bat ears, and they're both like looking scared and terrified. But they also look at you with some recognition.
I will call out in Goblin to the Goblin, please turn around so we can see your head.
He turns around. You don't see anything from this distance. He looks normal.
Okay. I look at Fetid.
He does have
How
a
do you
little
want
jaunty
to-
cap, so.
Remove your cap. Cap off. Please.
It's good.
He does.
Nothing under there.
Not that you can see from here.
I look at Fetid. They're your people. How do you want to handle this? They don't seem to be taken yet.
I'm gonna yell hi and wave them over while keeping my gun aimed at them in case they try anything.
They like apprehensively come towards you. They're staring at the gun. But the goblin will start to say to you in Undercommon. I think that's the one that you speak.
Sounds like it.
Yep, it is. Help us, please. You are the great hero of our people. Help. We're dying.
Probably the purple fungus, I'm guessing.
Who's the Abla hero?
They nod vigorously. Anyone else speak Undercommon? I don't think so.
Nope.
Sorry, I just speak Goblin.
Well, I
thought
will.
somebody
go running
did.
translation.
I speak Common, Sylvan, Goblin, Southgren, Dwarven, and Thieves-Camp.
I think. No, right. It is just. I was thinking of Abyssal. That
Yeah.
because the other
That's
name
pretty.
for Undercommon is Chthonic, right? And I was like, my brain was going Chthonic, but it's Abyssal that you speak. Demon talk, not just underground
And he
talk.
speaks Cthulhic, not Chthonic.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Important difference.
Chthonic just means underground.
Yeah, I would like to ask them where, like, how long has this been happening for?
It started maybe 2 fortnights ago, or maybe
Okay.
not
I'm
even.
just gonna pass this along to the rest of the group as they're talking.
I will put this in the notebook that, you know...
And
do you
you'll quickly note if anyone does speak Goblin to the Goblin that he will translate into Undercommon for his friend. So clearly, the only reason he's speaking Undercommon is because the Ratkin doesn't speak Goblin.
Right.
Fair. That's...
I want to ask them if they know how they got this weird evidence, or if they know where it's coming from, or any of that.
The things, the creeping horrors, they find you while you're sleeping.
It's always creeping more.
They get into your mind.
All right.
What
Well,
do the horrors look like?
Like, and he looks kind of terrified past you, and he stabs a finger out, pointing at the largely dissected kobold, specifically pointing at its head.
Okay.
Like that. The ratkin hasn't been doing any talking, but he is kind of like just nodding vigorously and breathing, having labored breathing. But he will pipe up in Undercommon at this point and goes, "It's him.
who's him?
Yeah. And at this, the ratkin will lunge forward and attempt to attack you.
No.
Well, I'm gonna shoot him with my
Fungus.
gun.
You have a ready
How long
action.
of a rest? How long of a rest have we had?
Not really anything, because you've been busy, dissecting and investigating and all this stuff. But this is like a
I have
first level
time to
quaggle.
sort of non-lethal takedown?
I mean, if you want, if you've got the gun ready, if you want to, you just immediately blow his head off. But
No,
you
I
can do something
should.
else if you wish.
Bad. Yeah, I'm just gonna use my gathered swarm to restrain him for now.
To try and like shove him back.
Yeah, exactly.
So make an attack roll.
16 plus whatever.
Yep.
Modifier
This will
you
be this will basically be like a melee attack for you, but we'll consider it finesse. So that's a +8. So and then what is it? Strength DC 15 save is not made. I was like, oh, I rolled a 14. He probably made it, but he's got no strength bonus, so
strongest
never mind.
kobold.
Yeah, strong. He's a ratkin. He does not have a good a strength bonus. He fails. So you shove him back as he lunges forward. He is shoved backwards. Your swarm can't hang on to him, but they push him back, and he's now like swatting at them and trying to strive upwards again. We can roll initiative. I don't imagine this is going to go on long, but let's roll initiative just so to know who goes next. The ratkin gets a 4. I'll do the same for the
9.
goblin.
15 here.
20. I don't think I've ever had a 20 before.
Ooh,
You're fast.
it's the least
Great.
important initiative roll, and it's the one you get a 20. 20, your first, Copernicus.
Because I am immune to disease, and I don't want him coming near the party, I think I'm going to. Perny's going to get physical. I think I'm going to like jump on him and see if I can like get him by the neck with the fishing rod to like restrain him.
Ooh.
Okay.
And just like hold him in place. So I guess
You
I'm grabbing.
pull out your head, your sweatband, and your wrist
Yeah.
bands,
Yeah.
and get physical. So make me a grapple attack. This is hilarious.
This ain't gonna go great. It's just a
Nope.
a strength.
It's a strength-based attack roll. You get your proficiency bonus like any attack,
23.
but it's a -1. So you got a +2
Nice.
is your attack bonus. So
This
22,
is
I
actually,
guess.
this is actually a really good featherweight match.
Oh, sorry, 21. 21.
What did you roll?
I rolled a 19.
Okay, so you have +2, so it's 21. I will roll to resist. Well, no, sorry, I don't do that first. That's the attack roll. It beats his armor class. You have successfully grappled him.
Okay.
And now it'll be contested strength athletics to evade, which is -1 for you, and also -1 for him.
So that's a 10, flat 10.
He has a flat. You're a flat 10, so you rolled a 9.
Yeah. No.
I rolled a flat.
I
you have a
rolled
mo-
11 and I have a
Oh,
minus
okay. Sorry. So you got a 10. I rolled a 3. So he struggles feebly against
Yeah.
feeble grandpa, and you feebly
Yeah.
manage to hold on to him feebly.
Good.
You just got a hold of him, and he does this,
Yeah.
but you do that back at him, and it
I was
successfully
like, I
prevents
would
him.
keep your distance from my friends, or I'm afraid you might catch something worse than a fungus, which is to say, a bullet.
He starts like there's a little bit of foaming in his mouth. His eyes go wild. It reminds you very much of the first set of kobolds you encountered.
I was not there for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, for everyone else though, it reminds everyone else of the first set of kobolds you encountered. Next up is Fetid.
All right. I want to try and just knock this guy out.
Yeah, you can do that.
All right. Well, roll to hit. Assuming I'm using the blunt end of a knife, that would be a 16.
You have because he has been grappled by your friend. You have advantage on the roll.
Well, that's a crit, so I just
Nice.
exploded his head.
Nice.
I will. So yeah. Normally it's very difficult rules for knocking unconscious. One of the optional rules I've seen is you only knock someone unconscious when you're deliberately trying to do so and you crit. But you just did that. So I roll a saving throw, a con save. I rolled a 9. He hasn't got a con bonus. So yeah,
just
you
cold
knock him
clock
out
in the
cold.
back of the head.
Yep.
Yep.
That looks
You just,
super
like,
cool,
go-
like I did it on purpose. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you do that nod afterwards. That like Yep.
Mhm.
The goblin's
I do this
super
all the
impressed
time.
because he already was like, "You're a folk
Oh,
hero,"
yeah.
and now you're like, you pull out your sunglasses and put them on.
Like, yeah, that's how we do
Yeah,
it in
in this-
Mud Hollow.
Yeah.
Sunglasses in an underground sewer.
Good.
Yep.
Yep.
Don't get fooled again. And then you walk into a wall because you can't see.
Yep. Hey, I
um,
have dark vision. I'd be
That's
fine.
good.
we can leave combat time there. No need for further initiative because he's out cold.
Y'all good down there?
Yeah, we're fine. I'm going to bind his hands though.
In the background, Ugna is like Ugna is like still spider climbing on the wall and is like leaned around the edge of the curve. Has like one spider baby in one arm and one like in her teeth.
I'm
It's like-
imagining them doing the like one person peeks around the door and then another head and then
Yes.
another head.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was picturing more like one of them is gnawing on her head and one of them is like struggling from her grip and
Nice.
Trying to keep them all together.
trying to keep. They're all trying to skitter in all different directions. Okay. Yeah. The goblin is like looking terrified. He's like, "Oh no, Max.
Yeah.
He was
Gotta
almost
say,
2,000 years old."
God damn it.
It ain't looking too good for your buddy there.
Thank you. That was just for you, Alina. I don't even know if they had that cartoon in
That's like a
The
very
States.
specific old Canadian joke.
Mhm.
Nelvana joke.
We got thumbnail on us stuff down in the States, but
Max, did you get Max the 2,000-year-old mouse?
no, we
No.
did not get that one. At least not
It's
where
a-
I grew up.
Little history vignettes, little like 5-minute cartoons that played between shows.
It's before my time, but I study a bunch of old Canadian animation, so I know about it.
Sure.
I'm old though, so
Mhm.
That one's new to me.
it's like Rocket Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's an old one. Holy shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, same vintage basically of those Toronto animation companies.
I'm gonna bind his hands up.
Yep.
I'm also gonna try to study that growth on his arm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's-
it looks like a mass of the same kind. So the purple brain at the back of the kobold's head, it was like spongy fungus material, but it was the shape of a brain. And as you saw from the dissection, it was basically replacing his brain through that growth in the back of his head. This is the same material. It's not shaped like brain. It's just like shaped like a cancer, like a big lumpy mass. But it's the same stuff. It's got like almost a chitinous outer layer, but it's spongy and gives to the touch. But it's just growing as a mass on his shoulder instead of on the back of his head.
All right, I have an idea, but I need everyone to kind of get away, stand away from this.
That always
That's good.
bodes well.
Good.
Look, it's my turn.
Okay.
I'm going to try to make a makeshift like face mask to cover my nose, so I'm not inhaling.
Yep.
And I'm going to put like a covering over the side of the ratkin's face, in this case this thing explodes. I'm going to basically cover up as much of my body as I can before I do this.
Right.
I'm going to pour some whiskey on growth.
Okay.
How does it react to that?
It really doesn't. It's
It
got
gets drunk.
it,
Starts yelling
it
about
reacts
politics.
it reacts the same way a chitinous fungus mass would react to whiskey being poured on it, like on the side of a tree. Like even like there's like you know how like fungi that haven't opened, that there's no gills exposed, where it's just the tough part. It's like that. So it like runs off it like it would have a mass of vegetation.
Okay,
You know what you
I'm
call-
going to then use my flint, and I'm going to try to ignite it. See if I can burn it off.
First of all, roll me perception.
Well, that's the good news. That's a good skill for me.
Okay, good.
Also, last time I kind of whiffed it, so
I was going to say perception or investigation, but then I remembered that you're better at perception. So whichever is
way
better.
at that would be a 24.
That's
Ooh.
excellent. You notice, so you're prodding at it, you pour the whiskey on it, you're investigating it, and you notice that when it actually got compressed, like when Copernicus poked it with a stick or something like that, you noticed a little puff of almost like very hard to see, faintly colored gas escape his mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
The rat kid's mouth?
Yeah, and I think based on your 15 Arcana earlier, Copernicus, when Tromlin points this out, you form the hypothesis that the tendrils you saw growing into the lungs probably grant some sort of breath attack, like a breath weapon. So there's no exposed fungal gills anywhere on the fungus, but the fungus grows into the lungs.
Okay.
And thus probably populates the lung and lets it breathe out
I
Gotcha.
would
some
be
kind
very-
of gas attack or spore attack or something.
I think I will tell everyone if they can breathe out the spores on you. Be very careful with the head end of any of these creatures. They can breathe it out on you and infect you.
And
You don't know if it's infectious, like it's D&D Magic World, right? So it could just straight up be a damage. Like it could just it's some kind of breath weapon.
It could be
Yeah.
a little guy that lives inside you now.
Yes, correct.
so should I not try to burn this thing off of him?
For science?
Yeah, you are still right next to the giant lake of shit. So you may feel that like the flammability of the atmosphere here is a problem.
I want to ask the goblin if they have tried fire.
Ask them what they've tried in
yes.
general.
Yeah.
We burn anyone who dies from this. If we don't burn them, they will come back.
Mm-hmm.
But this this happens. They go mad. We've tried burning it off, but too painful. You have to hold someone down and it comes back.
Have you tried amputation?
Yes, he holds up one hand and you can see he's missing two fingers.
Yeah.
Did-
All right. Well, I'm gonna
hurt?
keep this guy tied up then, and sure the group is like, okay, we have to take a long rest.
Yeah, he
Absolutely,
shrugs.
yeah.
When you say does it work, he was like he gives you like a real desperate shrug, like God, I hope so.
How
Look.
long?
I want
ago?
to ask him if he's got a place where it would be safe for us to rest up, and in exchange we will agree to hopefully fix this problem that's bothering him and his people.
Yes,
I think
yes,
that's reasonable.
yes. Come with me for sure, certainly. Oh, thank you. And he will quickly scuttle back up the passageway that he came through.
Right.
Assuming everybody else is okay with it, it does seem a little safer than camping out.
Yeah,
here.
no. Being out here in the open, we're targets, but we
Mhm.
need to get out of here.
Come on, kiddos, time to go. Now get off of there.
There's a bunch of corpses though in this lake of shit, aren't there?
Many of them are now
Okay.
sinking. They're at that stage where they're becoming waterlogged and
I can gentle repose any bodies that we want to bring back.
Oh, hold on. No. I will go last. I will absolutely ignite this on the way on. Yep, bye.
Yep.
Don't look back at the explosion. Just like
so let
Sort
me
of,
back up then. So you call out or message Ugna to let her know this is happening. You tell the goblin, wait for our friends, and he will lurk nervously in the shadows, looking around like he's expecting more infected kobolds and others to show up, which seems logical since they already did earlier. Ugna, you catch all of the spider babies and
I'll
get back.
them all to the boat and then paddle the boat and Trey over.
Yeah, you
to
put
where we are.
you get Trey back on your Bjorn and ready, and you paddle. You pull gondola style back across, and reach where the group is, you guys have this tied up ratkin, unconscious ratkin now. You also have the bodies you recovered. You dissected one pretty thoroughly. Is that the one you want a gentle repose? You want to get a different one? Oh, sorry, no, you took the brain out. You're just taking the
yeah,
brain
yeah,
with
yeah.
you. You put it in the jar.
Yeah, I did the
That's
brain.
dealt with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what you call a fungal sample floating inside a wine?
Oh no.
Cabernet Champignon.
Oh no.
Oh, that is quite good.
Good.
Oh, should we also put the lungs in a jar as well to take back?
Yeah, I think so.
A chunk of the lung sample. Yeah,
Yeah.
the jar is big enough you can fit a few pieces of this kobold in it. He's quite
All right,
small.
we'll do that. And we definitely, whenever we do ignite this lake of shit, we need to pull the boat out so it doesn't catch
Yeah.
on fire.
Do you want to take the boat with you?
Yeah, we can portage.
Like Ugna can portage
Why
it
not?
single-handed as long as someone else is carrying the unconscious ratkin. But I think 2 people between them could probably do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, probably Fetid alone could just get his bug swarm, carry it along.
True. Might be the safest bet.
Okay, so as you Ugna gets there and you discuss all this, and Ugna gets the boat out of the water, and you're all starting to move towards the goblin, who's looking real nervous and going, "Come on." Fetid, because you had the really good roll, will notice across the lake at 2 of the other archways, things creeping around in the shadows, and in fact, a shambling number of quaggles moving less like the kobolds you just fought and more like the ones up the stairs, zombie-like, shambling out of these side passages into this area, having heard commotion. And the goblin, who also spots them, yelps in terror and goes, "Come on!" and darts up the passageway.
All right.
Time to run, I
And
guess.
I'll take the rear, and I will be the one who ignites the river to, if nothing else, as a distraction.
Good.
So Fetid is hot on the heels of this goblin with his swarm carrying the unconscious ratkin. Grandpa's herding the spider babies along, and Ugna's bringing up the rear with a canoe. And Tromlin, hanging back, strikes some flint and lights a torch and heaves it back. And there's a massive explosion of heat. The place doesn't explode. It's not under pressure or anything like that, but there's lots of flammable fumes here that just goes woof. And you all feel a massive rush as oxygen is drawn to the flames across you. And you sort of like hurry up and rush away down this corridor. So the goblin will lead you through a little maze. Very quickly, he takes you away from this major corridor passageway of arched stone into a side passage that is effectively a big pipe with a trickle of effluent coming out of it, and he like jumps up and runs down the pipe. And you, Ugna in particular, is going to have to like squat walk almost double with like the gondola on top of you, and
It's good. It's leg
very
day.
quickly,
It's leg day.
you very quickly find you're not going to be able to bring this gondola with you, because as soon as the passage turns even once, you're like, I can't get this frickin' like 10-foot long canoe down this
Yeah.
passage.
I'll backtrack and leave it somewhere we can find it again.
Yeah, just at the mouth of the
Yeah.
pipe. Stash it and hope. So yeah, you go down a bunch of, it's like certain Mario levels as you go through pipes, and man-eating plants snap at you, and you just time it right so when it is completely invisible and gone, you can go through the pipe. And eventually you come out of a pipe into a square room, like a big cube-shaped room with a bunch of pipes coming into different places here. The slope of the pipes has been such that nothing is going to flow into this room. It flows back, but there's a huge sluice in the floor with a giant wheel. So you imagine like this might be somewhere that if there's like overflow, they can direct it here. But it's there's like the raised iron railings and a big platform, and you see a bunch of trash and furs and stuff. But there's basically a quaggle nest here. The sort of thing that some of you might be familiar with, people being like, "Oh, you got an infestation," and others amongst you be like, "Oh, nice pad." And yeah, there's two other goblins here. One of whom seems to be asleep and resting, and the other of whom is kind of crouched over the sleeping one, sort of watching over it.
Tactic, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, you get the feeling like the one that's sleeping might be sick or something. Is kind of like tossing and turning a little bit, but you don't see any purple growths, at least not at a glance.
I'm gonna give everybody medicine checks once we're set up here. Like everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you check the sleeping goblin, you find she has a really vicious infected wound. There's no sign of purple fungus. It's just like there's a big gash, like a blade. She was attacked with a bladed weapon, and it's just massively infected.
That's something we can actually take
Magical
care of,
healing.
though, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. The goblin tells you that she's a survivor from an attack by the weird fungus creatures, and that she basically got slashed up by kobold swords, and he and the other female goblin, you check them out and you don't find any signs of purple stuff. The female is missing a foot, and they tell you that she had a growth and they cut it off. And of course, the other goblin is missing the part of his hand with the two fingers.
And I want to check them in particular for like if there's any signs of fungal progression. And I'll use a ghostly gaze on one of them to see inside them if I have to. I'll X-ray one of them to look like is there any growth on the inside.
Oh, Grampy X-ray specs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Not even using it for dirty purposes.
You can give them a clean bill of health. They're I mean, they're filthy, but like they're not as filthy as fetid in filth.
One of them swallowed a nail at some point.
Yeah, but they will tell you as you're giving them this medical check. You ask them some questions, and they'll tell you about these creatures, these creeping brain things that have been encountered before, and they bite you. And where they bite is where the purple stuff grows.
Gotcha.
And that is the friend got bit on the shoulder, and it got really bad. And she got bit on the foot, and he got bit on the hand.
So yeah,
Right.
I'll tell them like if this happens to anyone, you have to amputate right away.
Immediately.
They
It is the
nod.
only chance.
They've-
to save them.
They seem to have come to that conclusion.
So, quick thing though, before we go further, I would like to basically clean her wound and bandage it, and I'm going to
Yep.
use my other prayer bead.
Lesser restoration.
Yeah.
Yep.
I still have at least one cure wounds spell left as well. If you don't want to use that prayer bead.
I mean, the prayer beads
They come
The
back.
prayers are like regenerated
right,
per day.
Yeah,
They're
so-
freebies.
I just want to help her out and make sure that she is going to recover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you
Because
can
in
do a
this
lesser
environment-
restoration, which basically gives you sort of a cure disease effect, at least on minor diseases. So yeah, you can do that
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, I want to cover the wound up as best as this is not
Yep.
a good environment to have an infection. But I want her to have a chance.
And I assume you guys are going to look for a long rest in this place,
Yes.
since just about everybody's out of everything.
The other thing that I want to do, the magic jar that makes fluids.
Alchemy jug.
The alchemy jug. Can we?
And it
can I,
makes
like,
antibiotics.
well, I have not antibiotics. Can we maybe get them some 70% alcohol? Like I could boil down some whiskey or something, or whatever the strongest liquor it makes is concentrate that further with
It makes some pretty. So you can make vinegar, which
Yep.
is quite good for disinfecting. It can make wine. It just says wine. I'm quite happy to say that you can choose to make that fortified or spirits of wine.
Make one kind of alcohol, presumably.
Exactly. Spirits of wine just means distilled wine.
Yeah.
It's not even fortified. It's just wine that's been distilled down until it's mostly alcohol. And the only reason they used to use that is because the wine production gives you the volume that you need to make that. The other options include acid, which, depending on what you're trying to clean, obviously you wouldn't use it on people, but
If you can't
would-
amputate a shoulder, like just burning the area
Yeah,
off might.
that's what I was going to say.
Like a wart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other
well, that's why I
options,
wanted to kind of do the other person, but
yeah, the other options are simple poison, beer, honey, mayonnaise, oil, which is considered assuming it's a flammable oil, fresh water and salt water.
Well, I think I might ask them like any containers you can find, go get them. We'll fill you up with as much vinegar, wine, and acid as we can for treating whatever wounds come in the future.
let's not have them
don't
wander
mix
away
them
from
up.
us right now. Let's have them stay with us. They're
Yeah.
safer that way. I don't want them to famish and get hurt. Like it just.
And you've got the one dangerous one tied up, so
I can set various alarm spells, etc., etc.
But during the rest, actually, if you will use that jug to create some water, I'll cook everyone a meal.
Nice.
Sure.
Including, I figure the goblins probably need to eat. They have.
I mean, if they live down here, they could definitely use real food as a given.
yeah, I kind of like the idea that if so like Fetid sort of knows how to use the alchemy jug just kind of like by trial and error. If you kind of like, I'm seeing an RP here where Copernicus is like, can I have a look at that, and does an identify, and then starts going through this list of things you can actually make, because this would be very interesting to Tromlin. It's like, wait a second, you can make salt water and vinegar. You basically have like infinite pickling brine. You can make oil and mayonnaise and vinegar and fresh water. Like, I can cook so much from your supplies and honey.
It only made blood.
Mm-hmm.
I am at one point going to have to bleed myself for my kids to eat too.
Yep.
I can't do blood,
I mean,
sorry.
they had a bit of a snack on Auntie, I'm sure.
That's
Yeah.
fine, but like I gotta make sure.
Mhm.
Also, during the prayer portion of my long rest, I want to teach them how to pray.
Aw.
Because I'm basically telling them, like, do you want to go? Would you like to meet your mom? I want
Raise
to
some
bring
of
them,
your
like-
many legs to the
Well,
sky.
This is excellent.
You
This
know
is
how
good.
horrible it is.
So during the night, then, I'm assuming everybody's good. There's nothing else you need from the DM before your characters go get some rest. Obviously, Perny sits up with the book as usual, and alarm spells are in place since that's a free cast for Fetid. So at some point during the night, Tromlin, you're going to get up and take some time with your offspring to do some prayer, and regain your spells and all that good stuff. And as you do so, you say to them, "Would you like to see Mom?" And they chitter excitedly. They're starting to pick up a little bit of Sylvan as you've been trying to teach them. So their little chitterings, which it's a blessing and a curse, because now the things that they used to chant in Abyssal, they're trying to chant in. So it's, things like Father Blood, and things like that. It's great. And they chitter excitedly about, Mama, blood. And you begin prayer to Lolth. And as you do so, the light of the small little watchfire that you guys have started here to kind of go through, like where Copernicus is sitting aside reading his book, disappears. The shadows kind of grow, and you find yourself, whether entirely in your mind or physically you're not sure, but you find yourself in the Nether Realms, in Abaddon again.
Cool.
And or at least something very like it. And having, this is after, of course, teaching your three children the very careful, the chant, the specifics of what they should be saying for the prayer. And as this shift begins to happen, they all start chanting like harder and louder, believing potentially correctly that they are causing this to happen. And as the shadows fall and it's Abaddon, the dark form of the Lady Weft rises out of the shadows, and they excitedly shriek and chitter and scamper over to her. And she reaches out her like extra jointed, weirdly long, spidery arms and gathers her offspring to her chest, where she has, mammalian breasts, but like no nipples. It's all kind of weirdly exoskeleton-y.
She's a god. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to matter.
Yeah, and they just bite. Like they get blood. They get blood out of them. It's all good. It's just shows them where to bite down, frankly, to suckle the venomous black fluids that come out of their demigod mother.
You know what it's called when a spider parent hugs her children after not having seen them for a while because they're with their dad? Multi-joint custody.
Oh. Good.
Thank you.
Excellent. Jointed limbs, arthropods.
I will introduce her to her children by their names.
Oh.
Excellent. She's extremely pleased.
They're like true names.
She finishes taking a drag on her long cigarette holder, and she goes, "Oh, you've done such a wonderful job. I'm so happy."
Well, I promised you I would be a present parent. I've done my best to feed them. When there are no kills, I make sure they can feed off of me.
Well, I think maybe I'll keep them for a while and get them used to some of the things that they're going to need to know here.
Fair enough. Do you need anything else of me?
Is this all of them?
There's the survivors. These are the survivors.
The 3 is an excellent number. They all look good and strong.
We have done our best. They have aunts and uncles and a grandfather who have all told them stories and fed them and done their best to protect them.
Wonderful. She reaches out one of these big, long, spidery arms with the little, like, pincery triple finger and pinches your cheek. Very pleased.
I kiss her hand.
Oh, you. Because you're gallant.
Well, I also still like her. I mean, it wasn't just like a one-time thing, but, still.
Yep. For sure. You kiss her terrifying hands. She flutters her terrifying eyelashes at you.
I'm half goat. I'm not exactly the picture of a track. Actually, no, I have that ability. I am actually attractive.
Frankly, she's going to, she will, I mean, whether you intended or not, it's kind of not 100% of your control. So she'll turn to like some weird shadow spider nursemaid thing that appears out of the shadows that just has like giant, multifaceted insect eyes in rows on its like otherwise human face. And it'll reach out its like set of weird clicky limbs and gather the children, and she'll pass the children on and turn it into a conjugal visit. If you are unresisting.
I am unresisting, but I will do my best to prophylactics exist in medieval times. I will be a little more careful this time.
Excellent.
Look, we've already got 3. Let's focus on those 3.
Hey, you don't have to finish. It can just be for
honestly
her pleasure.
Completely fine with that. As long as she's happy, that is how my worship will go today.
Mm-hmm.
I will pray.
Excellent. You absolutely get your spells for the day. Wolf is most pleased with this form.
I will do my communion properly. This do in remembrance of me.
So So you will, but before you awaken, as the sort of conjugal period comes to a close, things will kind of like get murky and indistinct and fade, and you'll see the face of Lolth as you're sort of acquiring your spells. It'll sort of cease being a sexual escapade and suddenly just turn into more entirely esoteric. And the praying resumes as you fill up your return your spell slots. And at this point, I can reveal the poll, which was to suggest what new information might be granted to the party in this encounter. And they have selected information about the brain fungus.
Ooh.
Thank y'all. You guys are
Thank you.
awesome. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Appreciated.
That
I
is
gave them 3
wonderful.
options, and that's what they chose. So in this communion with Lolth, you can ask some questions and get some answers.
I'll ask, what is the cause of the brain fungus?
It is a creature. So you will see in the vision the creatures described by the goblins, and those creatures are basically little, like the size of dogs, little 4-legged things, but they are brains. They are basically like the purple brain you saw growing, but just a brain with 4 legs, with like almost paw-like endings, almost like a little brain puppy, with a little,
Brain puppy.
it's a
Aw.
little wagging tail, but it's basically like the spinal cord.
Oh, I want
Little
one so
stub.
bad.
I know, he's so cute.
And at the front, where the frontal lobe comes under, it's basically like a fanged maw, little bitey
These are
thing.
basically,
Yeah,
like,
thank you.
this is out of character, obviously, but these are basically variations of intellect devourers.
Yeah.
These are absolutely intellect devourers, but
Okay.
your character
My
doesn't know
would
what
not
those
know,
are.
like, I know, but my character doesn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
And there is a sense that they have a purpose, and that there is a being directing them and controlling them. And you, as the vision grows, you well, actually, maybe what I'll do is I'll answer any other questions that are peripheral that you bring up, and I'll give you the final vision, because it's sort of like that's kind of the top question. So
what
anything
is-
else you want to know about this?
What is the best way to prevent infection?
Don't get bit. You're pretty sure that the spore weapon thing is not a means of infection. The infection is deliberate. The intellect devourer bites the target, and with the intent that they will become a mindless zombie, and if they stay a mindless zombie long enough, they become a servant to the hive mind that controls these things.
Once bitten, is amputation the only way to stave off the infection?
Probably not. You are 100% sure that a greater restoration, for example, would work.
I have no, I can't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's a higher level spell, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like magical healing will work on this. It may require, like, exactly what level of magical healing would work. You'd need to experiment with, but you're 100% sure that this is like a susceptible to magical. It's a magical effect that can be dispelled in usual ways.
If I am to spread your word to these people, would you grant your favor to us in combating this? Basically, I'm trying to offer to colonize the Quaggles for Loth.
Wait a minute.
I mean, of course, spreading the good word of Lolth is exactly how you will gain in Lolth's favor.
All right, I will
Lolth is
do my
well
best.
pleased with you.
Well, I did my best to well please her. I
True.
will.
Right, roll for sexual prowess. Let's see how well you play. No, don't.
Oh, please don't. Charisma,
Charisma, dexterity, stamina, or constitution.
Hey,
I'll go
I
there.
mean, charisma ain't bad for me. And
I'm kidding.
No, I make the offer to at least attempt to spread the word and let them know about you. Because honestly, if there's any place that would be perfect for her, they already speak Undercommon. They're
Underdark,
underground.
yeah.
There's a lot of spiders down here, I'm sure. Okay.
I think that's where. So as the dream completes and you see the lull fading into the background as your spell slides, the prayer, you can still kind of hear the prayer trickling off your tongue in the real world as you complete this. And in the vision, you see a figure standing behind these brain things. And initially, your first reaction is, "Oh, those brain things are a lot bigger than I thought they were." And your second reaction is, "No, this figure is a lot smaller than I thought it was." And then you see a halfling-sized robed figure with a throbbing purple brain-like head that comes into like what may have once been a halfling face, but is now a mass of tentacles.
Good. So we have like
a quagulithid.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Mother pusser. Okay.
All right.
Oh, boy. It's quite a
Might as
Zulu.
well happen.
Yep. It's a quagulithid.
I vote
Good.
that we temporarily abandon the effluvia mission.
Yeah,
That-
no, that's
that's not
urgent.
low
Yeah, screw that.
priority at this point.
And
Mhm.
let's I think let's start tracking where these things are congregating. If there's like
Agreed.
people hiding.
They're a problem down here for now, but they will eventually be a problem up there.
Yep.
I'll remind you, Copernicus, of the stories of some weird holes being like large rats or something had chewed their way into the library. There were books missing from the Sunshine School for Peculiar Youngsters, and the librarians had told you about some of those books being missing
Yeah.
a couple sessions ago.
Hmm.
Also, Fetid, the local Quaggles had told you that something weird was going on with the Quaggles in the deeper sewers.
Indeed, it is, and it has been.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should get to tracking where the if there's like a nest for these things
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when I come back, I will let everyone know that the kids are fine. They're just with their mom.
So first of all, I just want to tell Copernicus what happened. So
Okay.
you were sitting by the fire with a book, as is your wont, and your son had gotten up early and started his prayers, and you were very delighted to see him gather up his children and teach them the prayer, and they all got together doing the horrific abyssal chanting, and you're very proud of your little spider cult family, and then there's like a shadowy energy that swallows them all, and they're gone. You can still hear the chanting prayer sound, like it's coming from a great distance,
Do I also have to hear the
but they're gone.
conjugal visit portion? Is that
Depends on how closely you listen.
Tromlin's ass is on
boy.
the mic and just like or on the on button and you can hear the whole thing in the break room?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, in fact, all you hear is the continuing of the prayer. You just hear the prayer,
Okay.
and nothing
that's good.
else.
That's good. That's good. Sounds good.
In fairness, how many sexual things have you told us about Yumbar?
It's
Quite a
fair.
few.
It's fair.
It's fair. It's fair.
There is no, no sign of him. Just this echoing prayer that you can still hear, just coming from nowhere. But the alarm spell hasn't gone off.
I'll try sending him a little PernyNet message like, "Hey, just saw you vanish into darkness. Everything good, Grandpa?"
Yeah, you'll get, so like just as the conjugal visit is beginning, you get this note in your head, this voice in your head, Tromlin.
Yeah,
Not
I
I'm
now.
don't-
a little more focused on pleasing Loth than talking to my grandfather.
Well, I don't have a
now.
mute button, so you're gonna keep hearing me every few minutes.
I will
Ding,
eventually,
ding.
eventually, can I send visual images?
You can
Oh,
respond.
excellent technique, grandson.
Woo.
It-
You're
yeah,
asking,
it's- It's
don't have text
unfortunately
on
only
my
verbal.
phone. I don't have image text on
Okay.
my phone, so.
It's
Oh,
only
at
verbal,
least
but you
Ash
can
is
respond.
boy.
I will respond. Sorry. Giving my goddess Conolingus. Talk to you later.
Good.
You get more words than that, so you can work in like like onomatopoeia
Purdy
sounds.
just
I
sends
just
back.
reply. None of the. I'm a sunshine. We don't quit.
Purdy just sends
Sorry,
back.
motto.
slurp, slurp.
Purdy just sends it back a thumbs up emoji.
Good.
That's canon now. Emojis count. If you can draw it in your book, that's one word.
There's a spider emoji, a tongue emoji, the wet emoji, and a heart.
Good. Good.
Oh God! And you finished with the eggplant and the raindrops and anyway,
And a no sign and a baby's.
no spine and a spider,
No.
spider and a baby. Excellent. Okay, so I take it this ceases your investigation.
Yeah. Well, I
and
mean,
you
I'm
just-
gonna do some Arcana on to see if I can figure out what happened because if that's a little stay
Yep.
patch we can keep in our back pocket, that's not a bad idea.
Go ahead and roll me an Arcana. I'll give you some information.
25.
Yeah, this is because of the children. You imagine there's a pact here. And you do know that, like, Tromlin told you guys as soon as he showed up with the baby sack, that he had agreed to share custody or something like that. So you figure this is a pact. This counts as a pact. Tromlin has a pact with a demon that involves sharing custody with these children, and that's going to allow the exchange of the children, and that's clearly what just happened.
Oh God, am I about to pick up a level warlock?
No.
Warlock.
But I would like to point out that when you return and you have your spells for the day, they include level 1 spells, level 2 spells, and level 3 spells.
Woo!
Woo-hoo-hoo.
So I'll make the adjustment on your character sheet, but your spell casting has gone up 1 level, which means you now have access to a 3rd level spell, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Also, I think that when you have dark pact powers that only exist because you had sex and that are only going to be used for conjugal visits, that's called being a whorelock.
Two, actually. Sorry, you get 2 level 3 spell slots
Nice.
when you go up that level. Nice. So you have the same level 1 and same level 2 spell slots, but you have 2 level 3 spell slots now.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
That is good.
I mean, don't
news.
thank me. That's straight out of the cleric tree, right?
But I'm glad to finally have some.
Indeed.
I'm sure the party will be glad for me to have them too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. So,
A spider world really.
yeah. So what do you want to do here? So you've awakened. The children are not. So when you finish the prayer, Copernicus, you will see Tromlin sort of reappear out of the swirling darkness, which will then dissipate as he completes the prayer. So like the prayer ends and there's no sign of weird energies. Tromlin's back.
Well, the only weird energy is like stepping right out of coitus into your grandfather's presence.
Oh yeah, there's weird
that
energy,
is
but
pretty-
don't
That's-
that kind of
that's
weird
weird.
energy.
Yeah.
Copernicus has that little smirk that like a parent would have when they know, yeah, I know what the kids have been getting up to. Uh-huh.
I look at Bernie and say, they're staying with their mom for a while.
Well, I look forward to their next visit.
Yeah,
I'll
and
give you a little. I'll give you a little pound it.
Little fist bump
awkward as fuck, but I do it. And I say, but yeah.
runs in the family.
He's very pleased with how the kids are turning out, and the fact that 3 of them made it, which is actually a good number. Like usually, it's down to 1, so 3 is exceptional.
Ernie looks a little bit relieved to hear that. If you'd said 5, 5 is the normal number. Exactly 2 we're missing.
No. Oh no.
Let's be honest, 5 weren't going to make it no matter what.
So that is a long rest. Obviously, everybody, you can consider
Yay.
yourselves long rested.
Long rest.
Um,
You know what
Imagine
you call it
what
when
is that?
a really old man regains health after resting?
Oh, no.
A hip replacement.
Mm,
Good.
up,
Good.
hook replacement. We might need to workshop that one.
Yeah,
People don't pronounce hit
Oh,
points.
we
hook.
are no longer hashtag blessed either. It's
It,
been
it,
over an
it
hour.
would work
Yep.
better as a comic written out than it would out loud.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
one of those. Yep, for sure.
HP replacement.
So the morning comes. You're all rested. Tromlin prepares a breakfast, so that you are all fed. What is the
Checking
plan?
goblins, obviously, make sure they're
The infected goblin is resting much better. She's sleeping easier as she starts to recover.
Alright, I'll put a damp cloth on her forehead to kind of keep fever
Yep.
down too.
How is the knocked out ratkin doing?
He has come around during the night. You were up all night, of course, because you don't sleep. So you saw how he regained consciousness and kind of struggled against his bonds for a while, and eventually kind of like calmed down. Maybe looked a little bit more coherent for a while. If he wasn't gagged initially, when he came conscious, he would have made a lot of noise, and someone would have come over and gagged him because otherwise you're not sleeping.
His muzzle shut.
Exactly, like tie the
Wasn't
rat
biting
muzzle shut.
anyone.
Yeah, see, that's the main thing, because he can't bite anyone. That's the thing I do tell the party. Like, I have learned the breath weapon doesn't infect; it is a bite. And unfortunately, I don't have access to any spells that can turn the infection back. So we need to be really careful.
Do we want to knock him out again so we can like?
I got my staff. I'll do it.
We could knock him out, cut out part of the arm, heal him so that he doesn't die immediately, and see where that.
Problem
goes.
is, how long has it been there? It may already be in his lungs.
It's in his lungs because he was breathing out. So that's how you discovered the breath weapon.
Right.
Okay.
So
was
you
aware
know,
he was-
it's at least gotten as far as his lungs.
So he's gonna need some magic healing if he has any chance.
Yeah, and you also
That
imagine
or-
it's probably reached his brain to some degree because he's starting to like lose normal
Lose his mind.
behavior.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
if we do the Lulth deal, which I'm not aware of, so actually I guess I probably shouldn't make any suggestions about this. We can get some magical healing, is all I'm saying.
I will turn to the party and say, here's the situation. Off revealed to me, these look like dogs of the bodies are brains. Their bites are what's causing the infection to spread. But there's a being behind them. And as best as I can tell, it's a halfling quaggle who is beginning to morph into a mind flayer. Which would explain the holes in the library where books have gone missing.
Just for continuity's sake, I'll say that you describe what you saw, and the 15 Arcana roll that Copernicus made earlier, because Tromlin would probably not know what a mind flayer is, but Copernicus would with a half decent roll, and you put it together and you're like, this is a thing called a mind flayer. We've heard of them somewhat, but it's
What do we
clearly a
know about
quaggle
them?
mind flayer.
Do we know anything about them?
I think I'd call for a new roll, but can make an Arcana roll and see what I get.
I mean, obviously, I know nothing about them. I do
20.
not know.
20?
Dirty 20.
I roll a 8. So no.
No, I think I would only let Copernicus make this roll as a trained skill.
That makes total sense.
Then, so the weird thing about this is, you've heard of mind flayers. They are like a race, like they're a species of creature that that feed off of like the minds and intellects of others, and they create brain intellect devourers, which are like their pets. Um, you have heard of like ways that they like spread out their influence and like control groups of people. There are cults where there's a mind flayer that basically has control of a bunch of people's minds. But this whole fungus infection-y thing is completely novel to you. You've not heard of anything like this. And the idea that there might be like an illithid that is like an infected being is weird.
Okay.
Something unusual is going on here. I mean, illithids are bad news to begin with. They come from like other realms, and they're magical creatures that like spread their influence. But this is new. This weird fungus stuff.
Okay.
And
I'll pass
Lost,
it on.
speaking of cults, Loft said that she would give us her favor, but I have to spread her word to the Quaggles. Obviously, I cannot force them to accept Loft, and I would never try to. But I turned to my friend. But she kind of requires it, and she is my baby mama.
Well, I guess as long as there's no coercion involved.
I'm not going to
Surely.
colonize on behalf of Loft. That is...
You're just gonna have to write up some literature.
I would
Some
love
little
to see
chick
a wall.
tracks.
Chick
What?
track pamphlets, yeah.
Good.
Wealth tracts, excellent.
Good.
Uh-huh.
Jeff, you're frozen on screen.
Oh, okay. Let me restart my camera. Off and
Of course, that requires the Quaggles to be able to read.
It's true. That's why it's a
Well,
chick tract. You
they're
gotta have
pictures.
pictures.
They're pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
at least in theory.
I like
Just
the
like-
idea that these are morality stories where like someone doesn't want to do dark worship, and
Mhm.
then the work goes really badly for them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Someone in the chat, I don't know what this was in response to, but Metageeky referred to Frere Jacques,
Oh God.
and I'm like, how have it never occurred to me? I even like Jeff spends time in France. Like, how has it never occurred to
Ew.
me to refer to him as Frere Jacques?
Oh
Anyway.
shit! I don't get my spells. I see one that Perny's gonna love. I can cast Animate Dead.
Oh yes, yes, yes!
Good.
Oh yeah.
I can make zombies
Good.
now.
Sweet.
Oh, I'm so proud. I'm so proud. And
You'll definitely want to, having only 2 slots there, you're definitely going to want to keep track of like which ones are your standard go-tos.
Yeah. These are pretty good 3rd level spells. Like
Yeah,
Revivify.
that's the main reason, right? Because it's like it's not you can't just swap them out. You can only swap out certain ones.
Revivify is a nice one. Remove Curse.
Yeah, that's a good one. Remove Curse is a good one to like not have as a standard memorized spell, but like be able to pull it out when you need it. Right? It's like, oh, you got a curse. Well, let's
yeah, that-
get a long rest
that
and I'll
would've
get you
been
to get you
helpful.
dealt with
in the
Yep.
Badlands.
in the
Yeah.
past.
I can meld
Okay.
into stone.
Maybe what we'll do we want to wrap up here, or do you guys want to RP a little bit about what your plans are,
I
and then
would
we'll wrap.
bid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting real late for Frere Jacques.
Yep. I've
I
got to
will
go
not vote for
dormez-vous.
Refuse to hold Jeff that. I'm sorry.
You're gonna dorme moi. What?
Uh-huh.
Or let's just brother Jeff in translation, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, let's maybe leave it there. So we'll pick up. I'm assuming you'll.
Illithid hunting.
Yeah, you'll probably question these goblins about what they know and
Yep.
and where to go next from here. So next game will take place right now tentatively on December 16th, and that'll be the last game for the year. Jeff will be unable to join us, but we may have a guest. So stay tuned for that to the audience. Shall we do the draw?
I would, except Twitch is not letting me download it. It's much slower this month. They've switched up how they're doing the subscriber list, so you have to request one, and then they email you when your request has been fulfilled. So
That's annoying.
yeah, I will do that at the start of stream
Here's-
next time. So because
Yeah, here's what we'll do. Yeah, we'll get the list and we'll start next stream with the draw.
Yeah.
That's real annoying.
Yeah, it's super annoying.
But if the request is going in, this is your chance for people who haven't subscribed yet. If you've subscribed before the list comes in, you'll be in the draw for this time around. But yeah, otherwise, thanks very much for coming and spending some time with your favorite trash. Anybody have anything they want to shout out? Any new projects? Christmas is coming.
Just
Oh yeah, I guess if you want to like buy the nerd things from my nerd store, it's nat21workshop.com. I got some fun, silly stuff and jokes about blood magic and demons and the like. Yeah, check that out.
Topatico for the. Oh, carry on.
Let's say I also I think the Indigo exclusive edition of the Story Engine deck has come out. So there's a version that's like there's 5 bonus cards. Indigo had us like redesign the box in their like brand colors. It's like a
Nice.
co thing. It's pretty cool to get to do it with them. So you can find that on Indigo chapters, Kohl's stores, and on their website.
nice.
Pretty
Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent. Yeah, and I guess for Jeff and Alina, you can find their products at topatico.com.
It's true.
I think we're nearing the deadlines for ordering stuff for Christmas, so
Getting there, yeah.
get your orders in for fun stuff like funny T-shirts and stuffed toys and whatnot.
Yeah, and thank you all for watching all year and subscribing and hanging out in the chat every game. It's awesome having you.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
And you can
And
join the
many
Discord.
puns. So many puns.
You can join the Discord for even more puns. I don't know if anyone wants to throw the Discord link in the chat,
See if I
but
can find it.
feel free.
Can I find it in time?
Kaito always has it handy, but I don't know if he is
Yeah.
present. Oh, I just see the. Well, no, that's from a while ago. In any case, thanks all. We will see y'all in a couple of weeks. Keep on trashing.
I'm gonna.
Keep on crashing.
Keep on trashing.
Sorry, I'm just
There,
setting up
there we go.
a raid.
And there's yep, setting up a
There we
raid.
go. Perfect. All right. See y'all later.
Hi, everybody.
All right,
Here, bye.
raid.